storm smacked central PA. The damage left in their wake, and a live report next on CBS 21 News. See you in a minute.
Live from central Pennsylvania, this is CBS 21 News at 11.
The cleanup begins for some as severe storms continue to rip through central PA. This home in York, one of the many damaged tonight. The storm also made for a treacherous evening commute.
I feel really fortunate that we're alive right now.
A woman shares her harrowing story of driving home through those storms in Juniata County. You'll hear more from her in just a minute, but right now, here is a live look at Dauphin County, one of the several counties under a tornado warning earlier tonight. Thank you so much for joining us at 11 o'clock tonight. I'm Jasmine Brooks. Let's send it right to Chief Meteorologist Tom Russell for the status on severe weather.
What a crazy day. Some of these storms still going on to our east. So check out this lightning. This is from Jackson Township, York County. So pretty impressive lightning. Certainly a whole lot of rain. We had wind, we had hail. It's been that kind of day. So the good news at this hour is we're seeing the rain move off to the east, and we're finally getting a break. So no more watches, no more severe warnings as you take a look at the radar with me here. So we finally get a little bit of a break. Let's go ahead and show you that radar. You'll see all that stuff moving off to the east here over towards Schuylkill County, portions of Berks County over towards Reading, and we're finally getting a break. Nothing back behind it. So this is relief. This is where the heavy rain is. So as you work your way up 81 out 78, a lot of these areas got it multiple times today. So here's what we're left with. Flood advisories for the areas in green. We've seen 2, 3, even 4 inches of rain add up over the day today. So the big concern tonight is we still have that chance for some flooding. Let me jump ahead to tomorrow afternoon. We will see more storms pop up. They won't be as widespread, won't be as intense, but they're still going to be there. 3, 4, here's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The other good news is they should wrap up fairly early in the evening tomorrow. So again, with those areas that got a lot of rain today, you've heard us say it a million times. Turn around, don't drown. Please be careful as you make your way around central PA, even on into tomorrow morning. Jasmine, back to you.
Tom, thank you. Well, tonight we are hearing from a local woman sharing what it was like driving through those violent storms. CBS 21's Karina Chung joins us live. So first, is that woman okay? We have to ask that.
Well, good evening, Jasmine. Sue Lee Goodlife is okay. She made it home just fine, but this storm was a rough one. You experienced it all. Hail, rain, lots of wind. Now, Sue Lee was on her way home from Port Royal to Liverpool when that nasty weather hit, and it terrified her.
Holy crap. Look at that. Oh my gosh.
This is the damage Sue Lee Goodlife saw driving home on 322 in Perry County.
All these trees were down. If I hadn't had pulled off when we did, I'm terrified of what would have happened to me and my children. Like, it was that intense. It was a once in a lifetime experience I never hope to have again.
She pulled over during the storm, headed home with her 3 children. It passed through Perry County into Dauphin and plowed through Lebanon County.
It sounded like the windows in my minivan were going to break. Just sheets of rain. The trees were blowing everywhere.
Debris from the storm across our region. Here's Little Buffalo, Perry County. You can see down wires and tree limbs everywhere. And in Dauphin County, along Route 443, a downed tree blocking the road. Sully says if she didn't pull over when she did, she believes her family would have been crushed by the falling trees.
You don't see the perimeter of it. You don't actually know you're in it until it's on you, on top of you. You can't see the edge of it until you drive through it, and it's blue skies, not a single raindrop. It's totally weird.
And Sue Lee and I were able to connect over video chat for tonight's interview. Now, during that time, the lights were flickering during her interview. This evening storm causing her power to go in and out a couple times. But for now, reporting live, I'm Karina Chung, CBS 21 News.
Karina, thank you. Some areas have devastating damage tonight. A large tree fell and damaged a car and a home's roof in York County. This is along Lincoln Wood Drive in Jackson Township. The family wasn't home, or isn't home at the time, but was trapped inside when the storm came through. That's according to a man who works for a company that is at the home boarding it up. He said firefighters helped the family out and there were no injuries that we know of. Well, anytime that you can safely take pictures or videos of the weather around you, you can send them to us through the chime-in section of the CBS 21 News app.
said that after the shooting took place, before police arrival, while Mr. Aubrey was on the ground, that he heard Travis Michael make the statement.
That's testimony from a special agent quoting a defendant in the deadly shooting of Ahmaud Arbery. William Bryan, Gregory McMichael, and his son Travis are charged. The shooting happened in February, but the men were just charged last month following public outcry. Arbery's death in Georgia is one in a string of killings involving unarmed black people. Demonstrators rallied at the Lincoln Memorial to remember George Floyd. He died at the hands of police in Minneapolis. All 4 of the fired officers involved are charged. Protesters are also demanding justice for Breonna Taylor. Police in Louisville fatally shot her in her home during a drug raid in March. No drugs were found. Harrisburg is one of hundreds of cities that held rallies calling for an end to police brutality, and today, City Council announced that it is working to end systemic racism and abusive policing. Here's Brian Sheehan.
As the number of protests with calls for change grow across Pennsylvania, local leaders are being held accountable and calling for other city leaders to be held to the same standard.
We have to ensure that we have accountability on part of our police department, on part of our community and our community leaders. We have to ensure that our community feels safe and welcome to walk their streets, to come into our buildings, to speak out against injustices that they see.
In the wake of recent violence nationwide, council plans to introduce legislation condemning police brutality.
It'll speak to banning the use of chokeholds. It'll speak to ensuring that before tear gas can be used, it has to come from the highest levels of the police rank, such as the police chief. It's to ensure that we have accountability, that everything can be traced back.
George Floyd's death has sparked protests nationwide, including here in Harrisburg. But city leaders say calls for change within its own department have been made long before that.
The community of Harrisburg has spoken and let it be known that they want something on paper, that they want something written to ensure that they are protected in their communities, that their officers are held to the highest regards by their local officials and by the law.
Before today's announcement, council took a knee for 9 minutes in Floyd's honor. Some walking by stopped to join in. I'm Brian Sheehan, CBS 21 News.
And coming up when the news continues, how UPMC plans to tackle the problem of COVID-19 cases in long-term care facilities. Plus, how local restaurants are gearing up for a return of outdoor dining.
You're watching CBS 21 News at 11.
Across Pennsylvania, nearly 2/3 of the coronavirus deaths have occurred in long-term care facilities. And now, hospital leaders are discussing their plans to make testing more readily available. UPMC says they have not seen any outbreaks, but will begin testing everyone coming into their facilities.
What we've decided to do is to try to get a baseline look at what's going on in our facilities by actually doing the sampling right now to see if residents have that. And then what we're doing moving forward is also a procedure of sampling individuals for new admissions that are coming in. All new admissions are being screened at this point in time and tested.
Residents will receive the nasal swab and staff will receive an antibody blood test to monitor these situations. Open for business, York County restaurants prepare to welcome outdoor dining customers back tomorrow. It has been 10 weeks since the Avenue House, it is called the Avenue Ale House and Pizza Loft, I wanted to get that right, at Heritage Hills has had customers actually walk through their door. So starting tomorrow, dining is now an option. So get ready. They are getting ready. The restaurant has moved some tables and restricted flow, adding hand washing options and printed single-use menus.
Really tough. Just having the ability to service people and to see groups of people being able to get back together, I think is going to be a huge plus.
All staff members will wear masks and gloves. In all, Avenue Ale House will have 156 seats available for customers. And in less than a week, a statewide town hall. It's called Pennsylvania's Path Forward. We'll talk with Lieutenant Governor Fetterman and Senator Bob Casey, along with state and health leaders. It's all on Wednesday at 7 p.m. and it is sponsored by Donegal Insurance Group and Penn State Health. As summer approaches, many of us will be firing up the grill, and federal agents have a warning.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's quite dramatic.
A close-up look at the dangerous phenomenon called flame jetting in tonight's Spotlight on America.
And some good news here. A little sigh of relief as the rain moves out, finally getting off to the east of us. Looks like we got another round tomorrow and then some nice weather for the weekend. We'll have it all in my first morning forecast straight ahead.
We're still following wicked weather striking central PA. Perry County, one of the counties that was under a tornado warning. Check out these pictures taken along Lower Bailey Road in Duncannon. Chief Meteorologist Tom Russell will have your full forecast in just a few minutes. A warning tonight for anyone planning to fire up the barbecue or fire pit this weekend. National investigative correspondent Josie Sturman got behind-the-scenes access to an ATF lab and brings us this rare look at a potentially lethal backyard danger.
The effort to ignite a backyard fire pit or barbecue, creating a fireball.
And essentially turn this gas can into a flamethrower.
It's happened at homes across the country, a tragic combination of factors triggering a terrifying and potentially deadly result.
You just need some small open flame source in order to ignite this phenomena. Proceed!
The phenomenon is called flame jetting. Spotlight on America was given behind-the-scenes access to see how it happens inside the burn room at the ATF's Fire Research Lab in Maryland. The agency began studying flame jetting just 10 years ago after the death of a 6-year-old girl in Michigan.
We're here to answer the hard questions that are not easily answered.
Jonathan Butta from the ATF says they figured out that when flammable liquids like gasoline or diesel are poured from a container, they can leave an invisible vapor trail that can ignite if those fumes come into contact with an open flame, sending fire jetting out as far as 6 feet, engulfing anyone in its path.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's quite dramatic.
Wow. And that's naturally how it happens, just like that.
Just like that. Split second.
That's unbelievable. So if someone's standing on the other side, they're going to face catastrophic injuries.
Absolutely. And you see it just shooting that liquid gasoline out like a flamethrower.
And then it sticks to them? The fuel actually sticks to the human?
See the liquid fuel right there?
This video obtained by Spotlight on America shows how quickly it can happen in the real world. Watch what happens to this man when he pours fuel out of a container. But they're not all close calls like that, although specific stats on flame jetting are hard to track. A 2014 report from the National Fire Prevention Association found flammable and combustible liquids that ignite in their containers cause more than 160,000 fires a year, killing hundreds and injuring nearly 4,000 people.
They were on the front porch making s'mores, and unfortunately we had one of these flashback explosions.
Margaret Lewis has lived it. One of her teenage daughters was burned in a fire accident in 2014. The experience starting a crusade that's taken her to Congress with a fight to make sure every new portable fuel can in the country is outfitted with a simple device that experts, including the ATF, say could prevent fire accidents like flame jetting. A flame arrestor. It's a screen that vents gas but keeps fire from coming back into the container.
From the oil well to the gas pump, it's required. But when we hand it to the consumer, we play Russian roulette.
Right now, consumer cans don't have to have flame arrestors, but a bill that's passed the House would create a standard to require them or other flame mitigation devices.
What keeps you motivated to keep pushing for something to stop this from happening?
Every year I meet new people, and every year I'm heartbroken all over again. I want to warn people. I don't want to see people in burn units.
Ending up there as a result of a preventable phenomenon. I'm Josie Sturman for Spotlight on America.
Wow. The association that represents companies that sell portable fuel cans actually supports the bill to create a standard for flame mitigation devices. There's already a voluntary one. The trade group tells Spotlight on America their members make products that include flame mitigation technology and started placing them on almost all portable fuel containers about 3 years ago.
And now, CBS 21 News First Warning Weather with Chief Meteorologist Tom Russell.
Well, it's another crazy weather day, and as a day like this plays out, we get various weather reports through the day, whether it's wind damage or hail or flooding. And then at the end of the day or end of the event, we like to put all these storm reports together, and that's what you see plotted here. So you're going to see a lot of the little specks, and I know it's a little hard to see, but some of those are little trees, possible hail, depending on what the event was. So, for example, if I click on one of these, you'll see this one was fairly early this afternoon as we got the wind damage. This is near the Penn National Raceway, right by the casino, the Hollywood Casino. Multiple trees and wires down across Route 443. So, and then if you went down towards, say, York, you had some trees and wires down. This is in New Salem in York. And then the other one that caught my eye as we went through the afternoon, got more rain. Now we had these flood issues. This was a road closed in Pine Grove due to flooding at 6:55. So again, as we go back and we kind of recreate the storm here, it's interesting to see all the reports of wind damage and everything that we see. So let's play it back for you a little bit. As you take a look here, you see all the storms sliding off to the east, finally getting a break here in central PA. But it was impressive. And the thing that stuck out to me is wave after wave was just as strong as the previous wave. You know, a lot of times the first time a storm comes through, it'll kind of zap the energy out of the atmosphere. Not the case with this. So nice and quiet tonight, but still some very strong storms over towards Allentown, over on the other side of Pottsville, as you see here. So it was a lot of focus right in here, Lebanon County, around Fredericksburg and those areas earlier today. Let me put things in motion. You'll see those waves of rain. One came through, then another wave, and that's where we really started to tally up a lot of this rainfall. So there it goes tonight. We get a break. But I do think we have another round of storms tomorrow. First, before we go there, let's show you that accumulated rainfall. So we can go back and we can plot where some of that heaviest rain was. How about almost 4 inches in northern Dauphin County, 3 inches. So 2, 3, maybe 4 inches. How about 2.5 inches here? This is what has led to some flooding. So as we go forward, even though the rain is tapered off, the rain wraps up, the flooding continues. And you hear us say it all the time, turn around. Don't drown. It's just not worth it. As far as tomorrow goes, yeah, another round of storms here. Here goes tonight. We start off tomorrow as we start to heat things up once again, dealing with those storms firing off about 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So don't let your guard down. The difference is they're not going to be as widespread or as intense, and they should wrap up more quickly. Should be done by 7 p.m. tomorrow. But again, another round of storms. It's that typical summertime pattern, the heat, the humidity, and the storms. Now, let's jump ahead to some good news here. Window into your weekend weather. It's brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. How about 85 and turning less humid on Saturday? You'll really feel the relief Sunday. Sunny, sunshine, 78. How does that sound, Jasmine? Ooh. Wonderful. All right, so we got to get through tomorrow. Some storms tomorrow afternoon. Then we'll clear it out for a nice weekend. Nice into next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the good. Some clouds late next week. So what a day, right? Crazy weather.
It was so crazy. You did a great job, though.
You too.
All right, well, Pocono Raceway, thank you, Tom, actually has scheduled some things after NASCAR announced its 2020 lineup today. Pocono's doubleheader weekend will have 5 races in 3 days, running from June 26th through the 28th. The main event, the Pocono 350, will be held on June 28th at 4. The races will be held without spectators, but officials believe it can still be a memorable weekend for racing fans.
Let's just get the races in, give the fans an opportunity to have some entertainment at home on TV. We're going to pack them all on this weekend, 5 races, 3 days, and hopefully the time they spend close to home be a little more enjoyable.
And this year, the Raceway is partnering with Pocono Organics and Farm Aid to raise money for the family farmers of PA. After 3 months as a virtual ghost town, the Las Vegas Strip reopened for business today, the latest big reopening amid the coronavirus pandemic. Danya Backus has the latest.
The majestic fountains at Las Vegas's Bellagio Casino came to life again for the first time in months, signaling America's gaming capital is back in business.
It's like the best feeling in the world, like back alive again, you know, it's great.
Casino crews welcomed visitors as the Bellagio's doors opened this morning.
It's good to be an American again and be open.
Crowds filled Fremont Street as some casinos resumed business at midnight.
Happy to be here, happy that you guys are opening up.
Visitors will notice major changes.
You'll see a lot of social distancing. Tables will be 6 feet apart. Menus will be paper menus or will be sanitized between each and every use.
Gamblers will see cleaning crews on casino floors 24/7. sanitizing machines, dice, and common areas. Some gaming tables have plexiglass to separate gamblers. And everyone will have their temperature taken and be encouraged to wear a mask before entering.
We got to take care of our tourists. We got to make sure that the people who come here are not going to get sick so they never come back again.
In another sign, things are returning to normal. Here in California, restaurants have been reopening over the last few weeks, with some cities and counties allowing indoor dining. And starting today, people in much of New York State can dine at outdoor restaurants, but not in New York City.
Outdoor dining, there's no roof, there could be a canopy, but it is outdoor space.
So far, coronavirus has infected more than 1.8 million Americans. 107,000 have died. Now there's concern cases will spike across the country as thousands pour into the streets to protest the death of George Floyd.
I am seriously worried about what's going to happen, 10 days from now when we start to see those cases rise dramatically.
Dr. Agus says the more droplets go into the air, the more potential for spread. Danya Backus, CBS News, Thousand Oaks, California.
The NBA has now confirmed its plan to resume the 2020 season. Today, 29 of 30 teams voted to resume games in July at the Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando. 22 teams will participate in the shortened regular season and playoffs. Here's a look at the timeline. Players and coaches will report to Florida on July 7th for a brief training camp period. The season will resume on July 31st. Each team will play 8 regular season games. The league will use 3 different facilities to stage those games. The NBA is targeting October 12th as an end date for the finals. Next season is expected to begin on December 1st after a brief offseason. And still ahead, all former presidents have now addressed the George Floyd incident. Hear what Barack Obama had to say regarding racial inequalities in the U.S. Former President Barack Obama has now spoken publicly for the first time regarding the death of George Floyd, addressing the racial divide and calling for police reform. Ed O'Keefe has the story.
We have seen in the last several weeks, last few months, the kinds of epic changes and events in our country that are as profound as anything that I've seen in my lifetime.
Speaking as part of a forum sponsored by his foundation, former President Barack Obama called for police reform.
Chokeholds, strangleholds, just saying that's not what we do. You don't need that in order to effectively restrain someone.
Mr. Obama's comments come as his predecessors are also condemning recent events in remarkably candid terms. Former President George W. Bush said he's anguished by the brutal suffocation of George Floyd and that it's time for America to examine our tragic failures. Former President Bill Clinton said that no one deserves to die the way George Floyd did, and the truth is, if you're white in America, the chances are you won't. And former President Jimmy Carter acknowledged his own upbringing in the segregated South, adding, "We need a government as good as its people, and we are better than this."
The status quo always resists without some pressure.
In the town hall, he spoke directly to young men and women of color, who he said have witnessed too much violence and death.
Too often, some of that violence has come from folks who were supposed to be serving and protecting you. I want you to know that you matter. I want you to know that your lives matter, that your dreams matter.
Mr. Obama also praised police officers who've been marching with protesters and showing restraint, and pointed out that there are many police chiefs across the country who are pushing for big police reforms. Former presidents don't normally seek the spotlight once they leave the White House, but Mr. Obama, in his appearance this week, is reminding us he's going to be doing things a whole lot differently. Ed O'Keefe, CBS News, Washington.
Star Wars actor John Boyega made his voice heard at a Black Lives Matter rally in London.
It's very important at this time that we stick together in mind, in spirit, and in body.
Boyega told the thousands gathered there, now is the time to demand racial equality. Protesters have gathered around the world in recent days in solidarity with U.S. movements and to take stand against racism in their own countries. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert is next, but first, Tom Russell with your forecast.
All right, here's what we're looking at. Another round of storms tomorrow afternoon, but I promise after that it gets really nice. We're going to clear it out this weekend, knock out both the heat and the humidity. So by Sunday, it's much cooler, highs in the 70s, and just really nice weather through most of next week. Bring it on.
I know, that's awesome. Hey, that's going to do it for us tonight. Good to see you, right? That's going to do it. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert is next. Thank you for watching. News resumes at 5 a.m. and tomorrow is
Friday.